Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you another kill team tutorial. It's another one from the Into the Dark box set, and this time we're going to be focusing on two things. We're going to be working on the breaching robot and the sentry turret. I'm going to be showing you guys how to get these terrain/objective features painted up very quickly, very easily, and to a really nice standard, and ready to be used in your cool games of Gallo Dark Kill Team. Before we get into the video, I just want to start off by once again thanking my patrons for their continued support. Without you guys, I would not be able to keep the lights on in the studio and, of course, make these videos for you guys. So a big thank you to all you guys. It means the world to me. If any of you guys are interested in joining the Patreon and becoming a member, getting access to things like our Discord server, there's links to all of that below. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So apart from the Carsicans in the new box set, these little turret and breaching robot are my favorite pieces. So I was really excited to do a video and show you guys how to get them done and on the table. So I started off with my usual spray black and then spray gray sear. And I'm going to start with the Sentry turret. I'm going to use Space Wolves Grey across the hull of this thing. I'm just going to talk about it like it's a tank because it shares a lot of similarities to one. So all across the hull, all across the flat panels, I had pulled up a picture from the community website to use as a reference as to where to put some of the colors. And yeah, it was simple as applying Space Wolves Grey contrast all across the armor, trying your best not to make sure it doesn't pool, but we're going to be layering this up later on, so it's not such a big deal if you get a few streaks or a few pools. Doing the same to the twin heavy bolters that are mounted on top of this platform. And just taking my time. These were really nice, kind of enjoyable pieces to paint. They were kind of like a break from the norm. I didn't have to like batch paint 10 or 20 of them. It was just these two beautiful little pieces, which I can see being used for thematic games for many years to come. So I'm very much delighted that they're in my collection now. I then jumped across to Black Templar and used this for all of the black parts of the miniature. Shocker. So this was the rubber tracks. And I don't think there was too many other pieces except for the ammo cases. So I decided to do the ammo boxes both stored on the back and actually attached to the heavy bolters themselves. I was there, the same ammo boxes in the same black color scheme. I just thought this would break up the scheme quite nicely. Being careful here not to hit the copious amounts of black contrast paint onto the beautiful Space Wolves Grey. From here it was time for some of the metallic parts. So I just used lead belcher and just any metallic parts that you find across the kit. So I did the centers of the wheels, the like stabilization struts on the front, the little hooks that are used for towing it around. I also did all of the ammunition. I could have done the ammunition in like a bronze or a brass color, but I decided just to save on the number of paints used in the tutorial and to make it as easy as possible, I just did them in silver. And because the ammunition boxes themselves are in black, they look great. Same thing with the heavy bolters. Obviously the casing is supposed to say Space Wolves Grey, but the rest of the gun is going to go into the silver. So I took my time with this, making sure to get all the bits and pieces that I wanted and not to hit any of the other parts. And when that was done, it was time to shade the entire thing. Because this thing is an old relic left behind by maybe the original owners of the ship, it is quite old and you want the scheme to seem like kind of tired. So I went for a Seraphim Sepia all over the entire piece. Now I've said in the last kind of 20 videos I've done, I'd say I'm currently using the new shades, which have a slightly different consistency. So these are the 18mm pots. The reason I'm doing this is so if you guys copy this scheme, you go out and buy it, you're gonna have the same paint. If you have the old sepia and you use it, you're gonna get a slightly different result, which may suit you just fine, but just be aware of that. If you do it and get a different result, that's why. I then went on to highlighting the Space Wolves Grey contrast, and the color I went for was the Fang. With this, I did not want an opaque coat. I did not want a super neat, super tidy look. Like I said, this thing could have sat on this deck, turned on Sentry turret active, panning back and forth for 200 years under fluorescent bulbs or whatever. So the paint is going to be tired. It's going to be super dirty, super streaky. So I went in with that in mind. So I almost did kind of like a feathering technique. Nothing crazy, if you can see what I meant here. Same thing was done across the heavy bolters. And then we went back to the lead belcher I used to base coat it and just used it to highlight the silver again. Once again, I'm leaving the sepia and all of the recesses and nooks and crannies and bits and pieces like that, but just bringing up some of the flatter panels, making them a bit bright and a bit shinier again. Once again, we're in the final stretches of the paint job, so when we do these steps, make sure you're being super careful. We don't have to go back and repaint or retouch up anything we've already done. That will just slow down the entire process. Corax White was used as a base coat for the 3 kind of targeting sensors that are on top of that. This is just to act as a base coat. I'm going to be throwing a red contrast paint over the top of them to give them that slight glow effect. Nothing crazy. Corvus Black was used to layer up any of the black parts. I actually didn't do the wheels, I just left them as the sepiaed out black. I think that suits, but all of the ammo cases did get some Corvus Black on them, just to act as a slight highlight. I love the design of a heavy bolter, so I always enjoyed painting them. It's one of those just weird things I find joy in. Blood Angels Red was the red contrast. I decided to go over those targeting sensors. And it was a very quick job. That's all I did for these old targeting systems. If you want to, you could go in and add a bit of hard coat to make them glow, something like that. Okay, now on to the weathering steps. Instead of adding weathering powder, which I normally do, I'm going to go with the same thing that they did for their examples. So I'm going to hit Doom Bull Brown, and you want to water down this paint to the consistency of about milk. And then we're going to pin wash it into all of the kind of crevices, all the lines. You don't have to put it into all of them, but this just acts like layers of old dirt and debris. And because it's so watered down, it does just run into all the recesses. You can go around bolts and stuff like that. It adds a really nice level of detail to the miniature with very little effort. And once we put that together with its gun, we have one finished Sentry turret, something that I'm super pleased with. It's time now to go on to the breaching drill. Or is it a breaching saw? I suppose it would be called a breaching saw, isn't it? So the color I went with was Flesh Tearers Red, and like the previous one, I applied this to the entire hull of this particular piece. This doesn't have as much intricate detail as the gun turret did. So it only really comes across as 2 colors. Really, it's just only red and silver. But anyway, I'll show you the process that I went with. And I was super pleased with. So after the Flesh Tearers Red was applied to the entire hull of this piece, I went once again for a lead belcher, applied it across the tracks and the little chimney stack thing that it has. And then of course I did it on the drill arm itself. The drill arm got a coat of the Blood Angels Red contrast. And then we went in with the lead belcher silver on all of the metallic parts, all the pistons and of course the actual saw blade itself. From here, we shaded the entire thing. So we went back for our trusty Seraphim Sepia and applied this to the entire piece once again. This once again gives it that kind of aged look. Once it was dry, it was time to add the layering stage. So for the red, I went for Corn Red. And I quickly and carefully just highlighted the entire piece with this Corn Red. I left a lot of the recesses that dark washed contrast color just to give it some really nice shading, and I just hit at the higher points mostly with the Corn Red. Once again, this was a very simple easy to follow thing, so you guys should be able to get these 2 pieces on the tabletop painted up quite quickly. Same thing for the saw arm. I didn't realize until constructing this thing that the saw arm is a removable piece of this thing, and it goes from being a breaching saw to just a normal transport tractor, and things like the big dirty bomb in the suitcase can get transported around in certain missions, which I think is super cool. And that's why it has the open bay here. So after the red is all layered up, it should look something like this, a really nice deep rich red, very Martian. I'm sure who created this thing. I went back to lead belcher and layered up all of the metallic parts. So it was the tracks, and of course the little chimney. Imagine having a little train whistle when it goes down corridors. Don't ask me why. It's a little hoot hoot. Who knows why. Maybe my train whistle was more owl, but anyway. Continuing on with the lead belcher to layer back up the saw blade and the pistons and stuff like that. I then went for Baharoth Blue and watered that down to the consistency of milk, just to add a slight patina to this. You can of course use Nihilic Oxide if you have a pot of that. I have a pot of it somewhere but couldn't find it, so I just went for the same color and then made it a technical paint myself by just adding water to it. Same thing again, I just put this into some of the recesses, but the difference between the kind of dust and dirt and the idea of patina is patina happens where water settles. So it's all of the kind of bottom grooves of like pits and stuff like that. That's where the patinaing is going to happen. So of course the actual flat pad itself, water is going to fill up that as it's dripping down pipes and stuff. It's going to settle to the corners. So that's where I added some of the patina. Once again, this is just a super quick and easy step. You don't have to overthink it. But like I said, this piece was really only red and silver, so I did relish the idea of adding in this extra color and making it look super cool. Here it is completed, and of course next to its Sentry turret brethren. These two pieces are now finished and ready to be put into some cool games of Kill Team. So I cannot wait to hopefully show you these guys on a battle report at some point in the near future. And a cheeky 360 under some different lighting, just to give you an idea of what they would look like on a shelf or on a table. I really hope that future Kill Team box sets come with some more crazy gadgets and gizmos like these. I found them an absolute treat to paint. And there we have it, guys. We have a Sentry turret and a breaching robot ready to rock and roll in the depths of the Gallowdark. I hope you found this video easy to follow and easy to achieve yourselves. If you did, make sure you give the video a like. If you have any questions about anything I did, please drop in the comments below, and I will get back to each and every one of you guys. And if for some crazy reason you're not already subscribed to my channel, it would mean the world to me if you took 2 seconds out of your day and hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end of the video. See you in the next one.